And welcome to Talk FCB, and welcome back here to the channel, guys. And yes, we're here again. It is an El Clasico victory. We're getting very, very used to this indeed. Just 3 days ago, it was 3-0 at the Santiago Bernabeu. Tonight, it's just the one goal, but I would actually go as far to say tonight that it was a better performance. No doubt about that. We had a bit more element of control. We saw two different sides to Barcelona tonight. We saw us create chances. We saw us open up around it at times, but also we saw the defensive solidity and real heart out there from every single one of those players. We are going to be discussing the performances in their entirety from every single one of those Barcelona Warriors. It's all coming up. Another Bernabeu win. Let's get into it. So if we start right here with Ernesto Valverde's team selection, and in the end it was just the one change here to that Wednesday team. It was Arthur Melo who came straight back into that midfield alongside Rakitic and Sergio Busquets. And like I say, guys, in this video we are going to be going over every single one of these players, because I have to say they all played their part. Tonight wasn't about individuals, it wasn't about individual magic, anything like that. The goal, of course, was exceptional, but it was a team display. It was a real team effort out there. Ter Stegen in goal, Jordi Alba at left back, Longley and Piqué here, Sergio Roberto preferred it right back to Nelson Semedo, and I have to say, Roberto had a brilliant game here tonight at the Santiago Bernabeu. Busquets, Arthur and Rakitic, of course, we're going to be coming on to that man who in the end was the match winner, with Dembele, Suarez and Lionel Messi leading the line. And for Real Madrid, it was just the one change as well, Gareth Bale coming into the lineup, and I have to say, Bale whistled off by the Bernabeu, and to be honest, failed to have any impact. And look, let's not hang around here. I want to talk to you straight away about that Ivan Rakitic goal. Came about 25 minutes into the game, into that first half. We were making our way, we were creating chances. Real Madrid had a bit of spirit about them. The Bernabeu was certainly in good voice, but at the end of all that, we had to dampen the crowd. And what I want to really highlight here is a number of things. Number one, that bursting run from Rakitic. And I think today, having Arthur Melo alongside him just managed to unlock Rakitic that bit more. And I mentioned before, in the last two games, big games, Sevilla and Real Madrid, I think Rakitic has been really good, really promising there in midfield. He's bursting out here, and what he does there is attract the run of Sergio Ramos. Ramos breaks out of defence, he breaks that defensive line, suddenly then to leave Varane marking Suarez all on his own. Reguilon there then is looking over his shoulder, he can't quite go tight to Roberto, so he just stands off there because he has to cover the space that Ramos has left behind. And also here, take a note of Dembele, out wide on this left hand side, and he's really holding his width. He's doing that so Carvajal can't come nice and central. Real Madrid there can't be nice and compact because Dembele and the threat of Jordi Alba is just forcing them to stay nice and wide, keeping that width, stretching the play. Rakitic there, bursting forward, plays it out to Roberto. But the thing here about Rakitic is, he doesn't just rest, he doesn't just break forward, give that pass, and then revert back into position. No, he takes a gamble, he takes a risk, and when your midfielder does that, it causes the opposition defence all kinds of problems because they haven't got a man to react to it. Ramos cannot stay with Rakitic. Rakitic has all the momentum, and you've got to give credit here to Sergio Roberto. He sees the run, he understands it, he plays it there into that space, into Rakitic. It's inch perfect, he can run onto it, then it's simple. Rakitic versus Thibaut Courtois, who is going to come out on top? A few minutes prior to this, we saw Messi in this kind of situation, and he was so close. It was that lob finish that we've seen from Messi so many times, and he nearly opened the scoring. Rakitic, though, he's obviously been watching him in training because he did exactly the same thing, lobs it over Courtois, absolutely no chance, and there is the first goal, and ultimately the goal there that won us the game. You had the burst from Rakitic out to Roberto, little give and go into the space that Ramos had left behind. He could never recover, and a wonderful finish there to put the dagger into the heart of Real Madrid. And I'll tell you what makes me really excited, guys, looking at this team, looking at this performance tonight. It's Arthur Melo here, because it's not only what he brings to the team individually, what we saw tonight, that more control, somebody there who can accept the ball, wait, be patient, then pick out the pass. He also brings out the best in Sergio Busquets, and both of them here can just combine, draw out Real Madrid, they can try and close them down, and suddenly you can get him beyond. But it's also what it does for this man here, Ivan Rakitic, and what you can enable him to do, not only going forward, looking at what we just saw with Rakitic making those bursting runs, because he has more protection and more ball control back here in the centre of the field, it's also what he can do defensively, and that's why tonight, I felt like we dealt with this left-hand side of Real Madrid far, far better. And that was because Rakitic here was able to really go out on that right, simply because there was a lot more control here, a lot more cover in the centre of the field. Busquets and Arthur could, if they needed to, take on these three because they are that good. And what we saw tonight, yes, Vinicius, he had some chances, he had a few times down the left where he got free. That will happen in any game. But at no point tonight did we have a situation where Vinicius was here and Reguilon was here and they had the entire side like they did on Wednesday. That never happened in this game. And I'll tell you why. Because every single time that Reguilon here picked up the ball and he was just easing his way out of defence, Rakitic came and stood right on his toes. He was right in his face. He was saying, hello, I'm here. I'm watching you tonight because I've got your back. And what we saw then was Reguilon having to put it onto Vinicius, and suddenly it's a 1 versus 1. And Roberto tonight had an excellent game. So did Gerard Piqué. I'll come on to him in just a moment. But I was really, really impressed. Offensively, defensively, Rakitic here doing his job, allowed that more freedom, shutting down the right-hand side, helping Roberto. But in the midfield, we retained that control. Tonight, we didn't sacrifice a player. In Roberto in midfield, we certainly did. But with him in defence, Rakitic just ahead of him, we had the balance absolutely right. For the goal, it worked brilliantly. And defending against that dangerous left side, we certainly did better tonight. And as a result, Real Madrid was certainly less dangerous. But look, tonight I've got to go through those players 1v1, simply because they were all brilliant in their own right. You look at the first half, you look at right throughout the game, Suarez and Messi, they had chances between them, they were making runs in the final third. Suarez today wasn't as clinical, and I would think as a team, like I said in the preview, there was no way that we were ever going to be as clinical as we was on Wednesday, simply because that's not usually the Barcelona style. We do usually need a lot of chances to score a goal, and it was the same tonight. Dembele could have scored more, Suarez could have scored more, Messi certainly would have wanted more chances, but at the end of the day, we did what we had to do, and we certainly created more, and we were better today in the final third. I think we also counter-attacked really, really well. Jordi Alba today was certainly in the game a lot more often down that left-hand side. Clement Lenglet and Gerard Piqué at the back tonight. It was outstanding. Those two players as a combination and individually dealing with Real Madrid, not only in terms of dealing with Benzema or dealing with Vinicius or dealing with Gareth Bale, it was them dealing with everything that came anywhere near them. Gerard Piqué, last-ditch blocks, sliding tackles, bringing the ball out the back, making sure that he keeps nice and calm, playing the ball with Roberto, easing us out, giving us that element of leadership. He was brilliant. And even the last 20 minutes or so there, he was struggling in this game, but he battled through it. A real leader. He has been, in the last month or so, absolutely spectacular. And alongside him, Clement Lenglet here, a guy that when he was brought in the summer, wouldn't really have been expecting to play as many games as he had. He wouldn't have been expecting to play 2 Clásicos in the space of 3 days, but he's done that. And tonight, body on the line or what? Every single ball that was smashed into the area, he was jumping in front of it. He got smashed in the ribs about 3 different times. And also, just to add a bit of icing on the cake for Clement Lenglet, he went down the other end, the ball was in the air, he elbows Ramos in the face. That ultimately is what we all came to see, and big credit as well to Ter Stegen. Again, the ball's in the box, he comes out, punches the ball away, but he makes sure to get Ramos's face on the end of it, and I think that right there deserves a lot of congratulation, because Ramos tonight was stamping, he was kicking, he was elbowing, he smacked Messi in the face at the end of the first half, which I have to say was not recognised by the referee, no booking whatsoever, but when Clement Lenglet did it, that was certainly a yellow card. Don't really understand that, but the defence really were warriors in every single way. Roberto and Jordi Alba, certainly Roberto on his side, he was really, really good going forward. He was certainly good defensively. A real big game performance from him tonight. Busquets in midfield, he was slowing things down when we needed to in the second half when we were under pressure. He was just taking the pressure off us, going down, winning some fouls when he needed to. He was booked really, really early on. I thought he managed that really, really well. Rakitic, of course, we discussed. Arthur's influence, we have discussed. But I also want to talk about Arturo Vidal. He came on as sub in that second half, and a lot of games this season, he hasn't quite fitted in. It hasn't really worked out. But tonight, we saw all the good things, really, and all the big characteristics that Vidal can bring to this team. And I'm thinking longer term here, thinking about Champions League games, where we're going into the final minutes, we're going into the last 20 minutes, we need to keep it as it is. We're not parking the bus, but we're just accepting there is going to be some pressure. And then Vidal's the kind of man to come on and help you out. He was getting into tackles, he made an incredible amount of ball recoveries in the short time that he was on the pitch, and that is what we want from him. That's the kind of role that I think he can play. Obviously, he wants to be starting games, but I think coming off the bench there, 20 minutes to go, Arthur, of course, couldn't complete the full game. He wasn't quite match ready, but Vidal coming on in a very key part of the game, and I thought he played really, really well, broke up several Real Madrid attacks, and I was very, very impressed with him. Coutinho came on as well, and to be honest, it didn't quite happen for him. The final moments He had a bit of a chance, but again, it didn't quite happen. He lost the ball in a dangerous area as well. It's going to come for him, but right now, certainly, his confidence is at an all-time low, and maybe it would have been better for Valverde to just leave Dembele out there, who was always looking like a threat on the counter-attack. But ultimately today, guys, another win. Another win against Real Madrid, and to be perfectly honest, I never felt in doubt. I never felt under any pressure at all. Even when Real Madrid were coming on to us, you just felt Barca are going to see this out. We have right now an incredible superiority over our arch-rivals, and doesn't it feel good? And so guys, with Atletico Madrid playing tomorrow, we are currently 10 points clear of Atletico, and with Real, we're 12 points clear. They, for me, certainly no longer in the title race. There are 12 games now to go, with us leading the way, and leading it well. Leave all of your thoughts on the game in the comments down below, guys. Thank you very, very much indeed for all your comments and all your support right throughout these two Clásico matches. It's been a lot of fun, and in the end, we have 2 victories. The superiority, no doubt, continues. I'll see you soon, of course, guys, with more videos. But until next time, as always, Visca El Barça!